I think today is a good reminder, AJ, that money isn't everything, but Shohei Ohtani, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Major League Baseball all have one thing in common. They are incredibly wealthy.
Listen, Scott, money isn't everything and it can't buy you happiness, but it sure shit will buy you stuff that can make you happy.
Mm-hmm. And for
with
the Dodgers, that was Ohtani.
And with $700 million, you can buy pretty much anything.
Mm-hmm. It's deferred, though, so you have to have discipline, okay?
No, I mean, it's
No, you
still
don't
there.
have to have discipline. That's the point.
Right.
I.e., Allen Iverson, i.e., Bobby Bonilla. You can spend all of it because it's going to keep coming in.
That's true. Right. And technically, and we can get into this at some point because there were a couple like finance bros online who were like, that's not exactly how deferrals work in terms of what it's worth now versus what it's worth later. They were trying to actually go against it, saying that present value is actually higher than what they're putting out there. But whatever it is, it's fine. It's for salary cap, luxury tax purposes. Yeah, whatever. $700 million will go into the bank account of Shohei Ohtani over a blank year period. And I'm not going to break down every single iota of the finances, but let's get right to it because obviously we're going to get very Shohei Ohtani heavy today and then the aftermath, but we will charge the damn mound right off the jump here. So AJ Kratz and me were bringing on guests left and right over the weekend. Everyone will remember where they were when the news broke. I was on a beach sprinting back into an apartment building to go do a show. You were golfing, right?
Yeah, I was golfing. I was standing next to Justin Verlander, and I told him he should have learned to hit. He would have got more money.
What did he say?
He just started laughing. He's like, "That's unbelievable." And then like Piazza was around, Sheffield. There was some other baseball, even like some basketball, some golf guys, some football guys were like, "Holy shit, I should have played baseball."
Seriously. This is another level. What was your reaction, AJ, when you saw it? Because we talked about it for so long, and I felt like people tried to bring the price down publicly, or at least some did. And then it kept rising, and then it was 500 to 600 million. And then still, nobody put a 7 realistically of the people that we followed in front of anything. And I get it, deferrals. But still, no one said, hey, this could be $700 million with deferrals.
Two things, okay? First of all, when 700 came out, like 700, you're like, wait a second, that's over 10 years? Because remember, we were talking like 10 years, 500. But for 10 years, 700, everyone, I mean, that's like, whoa. You look at your phone and you go, wait, let me reread that. Am I not seeing that correctly? Because you're like, okay, and then defer, whatever. I don't care about the deferrals. I mean, listen, Bobby Bonilla's, the Mets are happy because they don't have to, Bobby Bonilla is not the story for the next 50 years like Shohei is. And then second of all, the only thing I'm disappointed about is the way it was announced. Like, I feel like Shohei could have at least been like, all right, guys, put a video out there being like a Dodger hat. Here we go, LA. Let's go, LA, right? Instead, he just kind of mildly put a Dodgers symbol on his Instagram and everybody freaked out. But like, I thought there could have been so many cool ways he could have announced this that he picked the Dodgers, even though it's not official yet and the Dodgers haven't announced it. I get it. But there just seems like there's so many cooler ways he could have announced this himself.
And he did say sorry. He said, sorry it took so long for me to make my decision. I wanted him to say ... but I actually knew all along, as long as the Dodgers gave me the money, this was the spot. It was hard for me, and I know we talked about this a lot, Kratz, but it was hard for me as I kind of let it digest over the 48 hours after it broke to imagine what it would have looked like elsewhere. And I know we'll get into the Toronto side, so I'll leave that for a moment. On the LA side, clearly he's into the West Coast. He's lived out there. Seems like he likes it. He's going to get the money. And number one thing is, my light was falling on me. Number one thing is he wants to win.
He proved it. You got more hits than Shohei's gotten in the last few days.
Hey, he wants to win, though. So what is, if you're evaluating and you've got everything else you want, right? Just look at wins and losses now. Where do you go if you want to guarantee that you at least get into the dance? Where's the spot that you go?
Atlanta or LA. And then everybody, I mean, it's for who's set for the next 4 years, 5 years? Atlanta, LA, Philly. I think, the Rangers would be a distant, I know I'm forgetting somebody, but those two teams, Atlanta and LA, have proven that A, they're going to continue to be really good. And everyone's going to say, oh, out in the playoffs, all this stuff, whatever. He wants to win. He went there, and he also got the money too. I asked that to Ken. He got both. Did he really want to win or did he really want the money? Oh, neat story. He got both.
Why though did he apologize? Explain to me why. Because he took too long? Dude, we're not even into Christmas yet. It's not like he drugged this thing out to like spring training was about to start and then pick. I mean, I feel weird that he had to apologize for taking this long. This wasn't that long.
It's just him.
I know, but it's like, gosh, I'd be like, sorry, not sorry, motherfucker. 700 million. I'll take as long as I want, bitches.
That is the difference. This is why I don't think anybody on the planet could handle $700 million. Like, there's been two. What did Messi get it over 4 years? 674 million, something like that, something crazy. Like, you can't. There's not even like even you, AJ. You made 10x, 12x as much as I made in my career, and he's making 10x, 12x of what you made in your career. Like, people don't even understand. Like, for him to say, I'm sorry, like, hey, you know what? Good for him. He's apologetic in his. I just hope he's happy. I hope he has people in his life and stuff, because now, like, he's never. I mean, I don't think he's ever going to sign another contract, but like, he's never. This has been built up for all this time, and he at the end he goes, sorry that I didn't get this done sooner. Sorry that I just made way more millions of dollars than the Arizona Coyotes are even worth.
But don't you think that's part of his character and even culture to an extent, right? It's like trying to show respect. And also for him, I do think some players in his position or people in his position with all the leverage and all the money coming and teams bowing down to your every request would thrive. I feel like for him, it was like a little bit uncomfortable. Just wants to go to the ballpark. This is not a guy who flaunts his personality. This is not a guy who wants to really do anything besides be the best player on the planet. And yeah, have some winning involved with it now too. You know what I'm saying? It's not his style. I feel like he probably finally did this, pressed post or someone else did for him, right? Took a deep breath and said, literally all I have to do now is show up to a ballpark and play the best baseball I can. Nothing else is kind of up for grabs anymore, right? I don't have to be a part of a decision. I don't really have to answer questions about that much anymore. I can just go play ball with a team that has other superstars, that's been to the playoffs year after year, and I can try and shine on the largest stage and be like a little kid out there on the field playing with the best people on the planet. Doesn't that go into his brain a little bit?
Yeah. And, there's probably some relief too. He doesn't have to pitch this year. From the people that I talk to, he likes hitting more than pitching. He likes being really good, clearly, but he likes hitting more than pitching. And so this year he just has to, although I guess rehab would kind of be a pain in the butt, but he's focused on one thing this year, and he might hit 55 dingers.
Yeah, and that's a good call. I mean, you get to kind of ease into the new ball club. And I know you're still in the same.
What if he doesn't pitch, though? What if he just like, fuck
Ever?
this, I ain't never pitching again? Is it still worth it? Is it still worth it? We had this conversation. Is it still worth it if he never pitches again?
It's so hypothetical. He is going to pitch again.
Okay, let's say he pitches 1 year and he's like, screw it, I'm done. So 2 years into this 10 years, you got whatever's left.
I don't see it. I don't see that.
I'm just saying.
I understand. What if he doesn't want to hit again?
He just crushes. Everyone knows he can hit. He wants to hit.
I'm just saying.
Pitching is where he gets hurt. Pitching is where he's getting hurt.
Yeah.
It's not hitting. Pitching is where he keeps getting hurt. So if you lose the pitching side of it, is he still worth the $700 million?
Yes. And I'll tell you why. So, and not to get too deep into math, $35 million just for his bat and his on-field production based on what other players have gotten. I think that's fair. $35 million a year for what he brings to your team in direct short-term marketing, distribution dollars, et cetera, right? Which we've talked about plenty of times. NHK having your games on. The marketing money that the Angels made off of him sounded large, right? Tens of millions, maybe say $25 million just on that alone. LA will probably make more. Also, much better run operation there in Hollywood. And there's no doubt in my mind that they basically see that return on him from a business component, right? Merch sales, tickets, the whole deal, everything. I think he is worth that on the business side, $35 million, and then 35 as a player. That is not factoring in how much the value of the franchise has immediately increased and will continue to increase year after year as long as he is part of the mix here. I mean, many people now are using the example of how big he is in Japan and just globally in general and making like Taylor Swift comparisons, not even comparing him to other players. No?
He's
In
not that big.
Japan? You don't think he's that big of a
He's
deal in
not as big
Japan?
as Taylor Swift is.
In Japan?
In Japan and anywhere. You're talking worldwide, he's not as big as Taylor Swift.
I think people will just.
He's not walking down the streets of Argentina and people are dropping to their
Japan.
knees. Okay, I know, but
In
Japan is
Japan.
one country.
I
Taylor Swift is
understand.
the world.
I understand. But I think that the money that he is bringing from fans in Japan coming to the States to watch games, ordering merch online, airing the games, etc. I think he brings insane money and value to this team.
Okay, so why did the Angels not know his value? They know the value to the Angels franchise. Why did the Angels not say, man, we need to keep this guy at all costs? Why did they?
They did. They never traded him.
Well, what I'm
Exactly.
saying is, why didn't they? Maybe Shohei's group didn't go to him, but why did the Angels not blow the Dodgers out of the water?
Because they suck and their owner is controlling their whole team. I mean, it's time to call a spade a spade. He never made the playoffs with them. To me, that's a hang up. Done. Not picking up the phone for whatever you're throwing at me. We just did this dance for a long time. Definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over again.
What about this? What if the Angels don't think he's a winner and they didn't want him back because he's never won and they had to? Hey, I mean, we're talking what ifs and buts and put one in your other hand and whatever AJ always says. Like, what if? What if they saw something that they didn't like and that's why they don't make an offer?
Hard to believe. I think they wanted him back. And I think they knew how much money he brought to the organization and they weren't winning and he didn't want to go there. It didn't sound like he wanted to go to either of the New York teams as well, right? You saw reports and Steve Cohen, and it didn't sound like there were many conversations, many kind of reach outs on either side, right? Didn't want to, for a variety of reasons, maybe go entertain offers or conversations with the Mets and the Yankees. And that's fine.
That's fine. He had his choice. He was a free agent. He can go wherever he wants.
Yeah. And in my mind, how much, because we're going to talk about this more coming up, before we get to Mike Wilner on the Blue Jays perspective, how serious do you think he considered Toronto? Or
he considered it serious enough he jumped on a plane and went there? Oh, wait, no, that wasn't Trey.
Exactly. He jumped on a plane and went to Dunedin, though, AJ. And my thing is, it's hard to decipher how serious it is because you do need two teams to dance. That helps. I know that helps.
But also, here's the thing. He didn't go, that we know of, he didn't go to Toronto. He's going to be spending most of his time in Toronto. In Dunedin, you're there for 6 weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
8 weeks a year. He didn't go to Toronto. He didn't go. I mean, I know he's played there. I know that he's been there. But he didn't actually go to Toronto where they could say, hey, remember when we talked to Mike, I think it was last time, how much they're redoing all of the Rogers Center? They're like ripping it up and they put a new family area in and they're doing all these new things to make it up to kind of code of the MLB now. But he never actually went to Toronto. He only went to the spring training. So, yeah, there was interest there. But to me, you have to actually show up in Toronto if you're this level of a free agent.
Do we know for a fact that he didn't go?
No, that's what I'm saying. But no one has reported it yet. But you would think somebody would have seen him if he was there. Somebody would have found out. But why would Ross Atkins and why would the Blue Jays not have him in Toronto? Why do they go to Dunedin? That doesn't make sense to me. I always wondered, man, why would we not go? Let's go to Toronto. This is where he's going to spend most of his time. 6 months in a row, you're in Toronto. Hopefully 7 if you count October. But why would they go to Dunedin? Why not just go to Toronto? Why? Because more people would have known because you got to clear customs. You got to do all these things that are a little different than if he just flies into a private airport in Dunedin, goes to the spring training complex, flies out, right? was he using Toronto? I mean, it's a great way to do it because a lot of people, used to be, people that were on top of it reported that he was going to Toronto, and it wasn't true.
It was not true at all. And then Kratz, we're going off that Sportsnet report. What was it? 12 years, 580. And I don't care about the years. I care about the final number. That's not even close to 700.
It's not. But also, what's the state tax?
In California?
And if he lives in, I guess he'd be in Toronto. Toronto rips you too. So
Yeah.
there's not much tax deferral there. I don't know. It's all speculation. What we do know is the Dodgers now have three guys in their lineup, the top three in their lineup that finished 1, 2, and 3 in their respective MVP voting. Obviously, Shohei was in the American League, but Mookie and Freddie finished 2, 3 in their lineup.
Their lineup's pretty sick.
Is it Betts, Freeman, Ohtani, 1, 2, 3? And also keep in mind, last year their lineup was sick, and it didn't show up in that series against Arizona. But
their lineup wasn't as good as it is right now. If we bring Lux back, you throw Ohtani in the middle. No offense to JD Martinez. No offense to Miguel Rojas, right? But their lineup, if you go Betts, Freeman, Will Smith, Ohtani, Muncy, Lux, Outman, Jason Hayward, that's pretty solid damn lineup right there.
Last year they scored more runs, according to Ken, than they ever scored in LA Dodgers history. I think they
got bounced in the first round.
Yeah.